Hi guys. I see a lot of videos where the planners are beautiful and on a desk that's lovely and minimal with a candle going and some succulents and a big piece of quartz crystal. And while that's really appealing to me and I would love my life to be like that, my planning life looks like this. Everything is everywhere. I don't have a handle on it. I have a very hard time with things. And as much as I try to, figure out what pens I need for the day and what stuff I need for the day, no matter what I do, I end up with a planning situation that looks like this. So I'm really trying hard to work on that. And I figured out a way that I think, even if my area can't be minimal and simple and orderly, maybe my planning can. Okay, I think I can do this with both hands, trying to use something to hold my phone, and we'll see how it goes. So it all started a couple of weeks ago when I found out I was dyslexic. I probably should have known sooner for a variety of reasons and other people in my family, but the two that I'm thinking of were not exactly diagnosed with dyslexia. One was my father, and that was a long time ago, and they didn't really do that kind of thing. But thinking about him and certain ways he did things, I should have thought about that for myself as well. And my son, who technically wasn't diagnosed as with dyslexia, but with a visual processing problem, which in fact dyslexia is. It all started when his girlfriend, who has a Kindle, was playing around with the available fonts and found a font, a dyslexic font. Now there's a lot of dyslexic fonts. If you want to look at them online, you can look up Open Dyslexia, which that may be what the Kindle has, or you can just Google dyslexic font actually, and you will find one of these fonts. And what they are is basically simple letters, but the ascenders and descenders are slightly thicker and tilted in certain directions. It's really hard to describe, but people who aren't dyslexic and look at it find it sort of confusing and distracting, whereas people who are dyslexic or have some sort of visual processing problem look at it and do what I did, which was when my son showed it to me, because he all of a sudden felt like he could read better when he saw it. I looked at a page with it, and for the first time ever, instead of seeing text that I had to process, I saw words. And it was quite, I don't know, it was like walking into a fun house where the floors aren't even, and all of a sudden you're kind of off balance in a way that everything had changed and you really don't know how to explain it. I was a fast reader because I learned a lot of coping skills. I mean, I didn't really learn in school. I memorized in school. And so what I basically did with reading is just bizarre. I mean, I would look at groups of words. I would process that as I'm going to a second group of words. I mean, it's a little crazy, but it allowed me to read. Now I lost my place a lot. I would find that I had gone through a paragraph and I didn't know where I was. There's a lot of things, but anyway. So I realized maybe the way I plan could be changed to improve the way that I do things, the way that I see things. And a big problem for me was always going back and finding the information. That was part of my issue with the Hobonichi. It's a one big page, and there were times when I wanted to go back to 2014 to find something, and it was so difficult for me to find information that I knew was there. So I started looking up different planning methods, and I wrote them down. This was the way Benjamin Franklin planned his day, and it looks very much like a 24-hour clock or a version of the Calendex. You can find that online if you're interested in it. I looked at the things Richard Branson does, but that tended to be more like making your life better type of things. And then what I found is the Eisenhower Method. And what the Eisenhower Method is based on a quote from Dwight D. Eisenhower, which was a United States president. And the quote is, "What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important." And Stephen Covey, I believe, maybe in the 90s, maybe a little before, made a whole system based on this. Now, this isn't the whole Franklin Covey system. This is like a part of something that he did. And it involves a grid and a 1 through 4. And I've altered it a little bit, but not really a lot. So I just want to start where I was in June, which was with the inserts from Maryanne Mall, the Plan Like Maryanne inserts. And they're set out with icons, and what I'm actually going to do this next time is go with the non-icons because of a few reasons. So you plan on this side, and you track on this side, and you have the hyperdex to sort of consolidate all the information. Now, for me, I do a lot of like health stuff on the hyperdex, and it's really excellent for that. So I do my sleep hours because I have a sleep disorder. I do symptoms related to that. I do medicines. And I've added some other things from time to time. So the hyperdexes look obviously different. I'll show you. Right, so I put different things in different boxes based on different things. And let me just show you what I got to after figuring out that maybe what I needed is to just reorder things. So the Eisenhower system is based on writing down and doing things in a certain order. And so what you have, and people do this in different directions, these arrows, but this axis is more urgent or more important. More urgent, and this axis is more urgent. So what you have is your most urgent things to do that day. And those are things that you really want to do without fail. Now, I saw a lot of examples that said most of your stuff should really be important. That urgent is like your house is on fire and you have to grab your fireproof lockbox and your wedding photographs and run out of the house. or you really have a lot of stuff to do, but your kid really, really wants to do something and cuddle. And that's really, really critical too, because it doesn't matter how much of this stuff you do, you know, if you're ignoring your kids or you have to walk your dog. I mean, urgent is a momentary thing that comes up almost spontaneously, unless maybe you're going on vacation and you have to get to the plane. I mean, obviously that kind of thing is urgent too. But the system is built so that most of your stuff should be important. So this is urgent, this is important. These are things to do if you get around to it. And I don't really get this column because it was really like stuff that's like totally not important to do. And, you know, they gave things like, I don't know, playing a game online or checking your email 1,000 times or, you know, stuff like that. That it was obvious. And they all said, yeah, it's really not important, so don't do it. So instead of keeping a square that I didn't want to start writing, don't do this today, don't do that today, don't do that today. So what I did is I have an urgent, an important, an if I have time, and stuff that I've got to do tomorrow. So if there's something specific I have to do tomorrow, like I have an appointment that's scheduled, or I have to pick up a prescription, or I'll be out, or I have to pay a bill by this day. That's what this column is for me. And it's different for other people. A lot of my stuff really ends up in the urgent section, but you know, just like any planning system, you have to do what works for you. And I've also decided to color code, so I don't need an index, and so it's easier for me to find information. And I've always had trouble figuring out, remembering, sticking with, not losing my pens when I try to color code. I can't color code with my main pen, so I either use a pencil or a black pen. Pretty much, that's what I do. But what I do is, as I do the things, I highlight it in a specific color. And I've had so much trouble sticking to that, not getting scattered, not remembering what I wanted to do, that I've actually written on the highlighters, and I hope you're seeing that. I actually write on the highlighters my different topics. And I'm trying not to make it too confusing. So pretty much anything that has to do with me, whether it's something I wanted to get done. Like I write in my planner a lot, shower early or shower late. And, you know, so that would be pink because that's me. Also an appointment would be me. Also something that I have to do around the house would be me. Anything that has to do with me is pretty much one color. And for the hyperdexes, I would like to utilize it more. But right now, I mean, I'm tracking so much health stuff on my hyperdex, and that's really great. Now I know Maryanne can track everything on her hyperdex. I worry that I would just be totally lost with it. But I track my sleep, I track my medicine, I track symptoms, I track Fitbit goals, which I'm working very hard to keep up with. So the pink boxes are hours, active hours, where I've had 250 steps or more. The yellow boxes are hours that I reached either 1,000 and then 2,000 and then 3,000, things like that. I put medicine I take along the inside. I also do number of stairs taken. So I do a lot of stuff. And to remember that important goes this way and this way, I've been putting some sort of arrow on here, and so covering the icons. So next time I'm going to buy it without the icons. And I mean, the thing with planners is, look, I'm not always great at, you know, filling everything out. There are days, I went to see this play, the play that goes wrong, so good. You know, there are days that go by that I really don't fill in that much. I mean, it's a fact of life, it happens, and I just turn the page and go to the next day. And I tried to work out different ways to cover the icons, and this was just like so much and so busy. I was like, no. I didn't even look at my planner much after that. I mean, it's just, I get overwhelmed easy by this stuff. So here's the way it sits today. I've got some of my Fitbit tracking, not all of it. I have to track something in. This is health related stuff. I cover these, and these are all my Fitbit stats. See, I do steps, floors, miles, calories expended, active hours, and amount of sleep. And I track, because a lot of the stuff here I really wasn't using. I do what dinner I plan, if there's anything with my dogs or my son. I do coffee, tea, and water. I do the weather. I usually do shopping stuff in here, and house things I want to do here, but I'm not sure that's that useful for me, so I may change. This is, you know, teeth and skin and stuff like that. Weight is just a struggle. I do my meds and vitamins throughout the day, and this one is so weird, I know, but it's the abbreviation is DI, and all that means is dress intentionally. Because I mean, there are like days that go by, well, okay, maybe not days, but there are times at 6 o'clock at night I look at myself and I'm literally wearing the same thing that I wore when I woke up in the morning, because I planned on taking a shower late. And yeah, I mean, you go to sleep in yoga pants and a t-shirt, it's pretty easy to stay in yoga pants and a t-shirt all day. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And just today, I decided I was going to write down what I ate on these little separate sheets, and then I will have a record of my diet. So, I mean, I guess that's it. I really wanted to explain this, but I was sort of waiting, I guess, to see if it works, and it really does work for me. You know, I'm sure the dyslexia is why I couldn't do a bullet journal. I couldn't figure out the squares. I couldn't figure out the boxes. I couldn't even make a monthly grid. I mean, it was so painful. And I realized that what I need is very specific areas that are flexible. And I need to just like label those areas, label the pens, and stick with it if I ever want to go back and look at something, or I ever want to get a handle on what I'm doing. And for me, it's improved greatly since I started using the inserts, and I've been using them since June, which at this point this year has been a very long time. And I think it'll be another leap for me when I go without the icons, because then I won't have to cover them, and they're more flexible, but hopefully eventually permanent, so that if I need to know something about my dogs, I know where to look, or I need to find out when I had a medical appointment for what, or the results of something, I'll know where to look, or I'll know what color to look. And it's also easier for me to track my successes. I mean, I know I've been saying this for a long time, but I've had like a hard year plus, and really have been kind of depressed. And You know, about 10 years ago, I was really depressed. I mean, I literally just couldn't get off the couch. And I went to a therapist, and, you know, we started very small. I mean, very small. I mean, my goal for the day was just to get up off the couch and go get the mail. And there's something to be said for seeing your history of success. And getting the mail at that time for 5 days in a row was a history of success. And so if I can do the same thing with my goals and be able to look back at them, then I feel like it's like a snowball rolling downhill. It just gets bigger and easier to see what I've done and feel good and continue. So I guess that is it. I'm doing this today even though I wasn't quite ready, because I think YouTube is dropping the video editor tomorrow, and I don't have a video editing program. If anybody knows a free one that works similar to YouTube Editor, please let me know in the comments, and I would appreciate that, because I don't really even know where to go with that. So thank you guys. Thanks everybody. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.